and welcome back to the 501 Social Podcast, where in this episode we'll be talking about superheroes. I'm your host, V. I'm joined here by
Victor, aka Q.
Yo, this is Ray.
Hey guys, Renan here.
This is Jay.
And I think it's only right that we start today's episode with the superhero, presented by Mr. Victor. You want to start?
Yes, sir. Let's get it. Well, my character that I chose for superhero is no other than Superman. The last son of Krypton, the man of steel. Look up, it's a bird, it's a plane, it's Superman. Humble beginnings for this guy, really is. He's the adopted son of Jonathan and Martha Kent. He was sent from his home planet of Krypton by his father, Jor-El. And the reason why he was sent from that planet, because the planet was self-destructing, basically. They had an AI that future on in his story became Brainiac, and he saw that the Kryptonians were basically destroying themselves. So the android or the AI basically destroyed the home planet. So that's how it always goes. That's the story. And on that planet, though, they had a weird concept. The concept was that every child had a role to play. So you see how right now in society, you can ask your kid and say, "Oh, what do you want to be when you grow up?" On Krypton, it wasn't like that. The child was genetically modified in some kind of way. So if he's going to be a doctor, or he's going to be a lieutenant, or he's going to be like General Zod, in this case, that's one of Superman's main villain, General Zod. His basic thing, General Zod's basic instinct was to protect Kryptonian and the way that they lived, right? So what he did was found out that Jor-El and his wife, the host of El, they call themselves like that, that they had the first son naturally. They was going to give birth to the first son naturally, which is Kal-El, or Clark Kent, Superman. And when he found out about that, he was going to confront them and but at the same time, the planet was self-destructing, right? So while that was happening, Jor-El found out that the AI was going to destroy Krypton, and he had to put a stop to it, but they couldn't. It was too late. So basically the last thing they could do was send Kal-El in a spaceship, and he found the best place to send him was Earth, right? And the reason why is because the sun radiation would give their son, Superman Kal-El, he would be a god basically among us. He would have super strength, different abilities. So that's why they picked Earth to send Superman. So I must give some kind of backstory to the idea that the guys that were creating Superman. They first started out with this evil villain that was going to be called the Superman. And his main power is to be like the smartest man alive. But I'm not too sure. I didn't go in full depth to find out why that they felt like, no, make it just go scrap it, But they did. And the idea from that came Superman's main villain, which is Lex Luthor. So they just swap out names, and then they just came up with the different, let's make like the Superman, super strength, bulletproof, faster than a speeding train, could jump buildings, leap, Yeah, and there are many different comics that show basically Superman, his weakness is a piece of his home, which is Krypton, and they call it the kryptonite. And basically every human Like even when you like the girl and they ask her what their kryptonite. Oh man, for me that's sweets. Oh man, for me that girl. Or oh man, that's our basic thing. We call it your kryptonite. We got it basically from Superman, right? He is, I would say, co-leader to the Justice League. He co-leads it, of course, with many other. I'm not gonna just say one specific person. Everybody does think about, but all of them have an equal share. But it was founded by himself and Batman, right? I can think about Marvel Comics, DC Comics. There are different other comics like Dark Horse, I believe, and so many other comic books. And even so, they have like the new guys that are like Omni-Man, I think he's called, and different Homelander. All these guys are a ripoff from Superman, basically. At the end of the day, Superman will always be the ultimate superhero. He believes in hope. He believes in giving everyone a just trial. And he basically gives everybody the benefit of the doubt. And some other like characters, DC characters, found that to be his weakness in some kind of way, you know? I found that to be... I think that's something which people should strive to be, like Superman. Because if you have the most ultimate power, no, you are an unstoppable being, and you still choose to be great, still choose to be the symbol of hope, and so in that universe. Imagine that you have all this. What would stop you from just going into the bank and stealing all the money? His autopsy is what made that. Jonathan and Martha Kent made him know that no matter what the powers you have, no matter how strong you are, that you must never forget what you are first. And that he's not, but what you are first is a human being of this earth. He's not, but that's the way he was brought up. Humble beginnings. They lived on a farm. In different universes, my first one was for this, of course, was like the old movies starring Christopher Reeve, you know. And then I saw a great show was called Smallville. And in Smallville, they twist and turn some of the characters and all the things that happen. But in that, Jonathan Kent, his adopted father, no, he didn't die. But in many other comic books, he died. In the movies starring Henry Cavill, his father died in a tornado, a giant tornado, and he could have saved his father, but his father told him, "Halt! Don't do it." You know that his time will come. That then he would be like the superhero that everybody will go like, "Oh." So, but Superman is my choice today. I think he should be the choice all the time. Like Superman could go through it because he goes through a lot. His love of his life is Lois Lane, and if you read the comics, you can see many times Lois Lane somehow finds herself in predicaments that he has to just basically save the world. The recent movie that came out, Batman vs Superman, he looked at Lois Lane, right? And she was like, "You don't have to save the world." And he told her, "You are my world." And that's the reason why he had to save the day. And he ultimately died. He dies in the comic, he died in the movies due to Doomsday that was helped created by the body of General Zod and with the intelligence of his archenemy, Lex Luthor. And that's all I'm going to give you right now, guys. Superman, he's, for me, one of the best, if not the greatest. That's my share for the day.
I think Superman itself, his name speaks for itself. He is what everybody thinks about when it comes to superhero. And now we're gonna throw it over to Jay, who has a very new superhero to maybe most people.
Hi. Yes, my superhero is a bit different on what everyone brought today. I chose this superhero because I feel like I can sort of relate to her. She's Raven from the Teen Titans. So a little background on her. This character was created by Marv Wolfman and George Perez. She first appeared in the DC Comics in the issue 26 in 1980. Her mother's name is Arella and her father's name is Trigon. So a little background, to explain her history. Her mother was like a lovesick type of person where she wanted to find love, she wanted to be loved, she wanted to I guess, just be in love. And I think it pushed her. I'm not sure what happened, but she joined a cult. Her mother Arella joined a cult, and that cult was trying to bring the devil
Yeah, basically.
to earth, but instead they got a demon, which is aka Trigon. And when he came as like a handsome guy, and he started to seduce Arella, and Arella was like, oh my gosh, I finally found the love of my life. She was head over heels for him, and then they did the deed. So she got pregnant. When she got pregnant, that's when Trigon showed his real self, with the four eyes and the horns and everything. And he killed everyone in the cult except Arella and the child she has, and he just dumped her. That made Arella become very suicidal because she did not want to have a demon baby. This is not her plan.
What? Really?
Yeah. So there was a day when Arella was about to kill herself, when the goddess, a messenger from the goddess of Azar, stopped her and brought her to Azarath, which is a city in another dimension. Arella, when she went there, she found peace. She was away from Trigon because, of course, Trigon was after her for the child. So she lived in peace. She was happy. Now, when she was giving birth to Raven, that was the most painful thing she ever experienced. She was literally screaming at them to kill her because it wasn't like a natural birth. She was actually giving birth to a demon. So she was screaming, begging everyone there to kill her because, after Raven was born, there was this guy named Juris. He's a magistrate from Zaret. He tried to kill her because everyone there knew that Raven was part demon. But Trigon's powers, protected her, and he ended up just killing himself because he couldn't destroy her. So now the Azar, she's a spiritual leader of the temple, took Raven under her wing. So she started to train Raven to control herself. She had to control her emotions. She just started to teach Raven about peace, about meditation, about trying not to see the evil on people first. Always try to give the benefit of the doubt to the people. Azar was training her like this because, of course, Trigon was going to come after Raven. So Azar really had to train her, so she could resist Trigon. So because Raven was training, she started to perfect her powers of teleportation, astral projection, and empathetic healing. But when Azar died, that triggered her. Because Azar was like her stone. Like Azar kept her grounded. Like every time when she was about to lose it, Azar was like there, calm down, calm down. Now Azar was not there. So Raven was having a very, very rough time to control her feelings because she couldn't even feel sadness. She couldn't feel anger, she could feel anything. Because once she feels that, like it goes overboard, So because she started to lose control of her emotions and things, that's when Trigon started to sneak into her dreams. She kept having dreams of Trigon, because Trigon was trying to influence her to kill everyone there at Azareth. And so she was like, you know what, I'm gonna confront this guy. Like, why does he keep bothering me? And Trigon, when she met Trigon, he just said, I'll let you and your mom live. Like, I'll let you guys go. And so Trigon left one message saying that when she turns as an adult, he'll try to convince her. Well, he was more like, not convinced, he was more optimistic that she'll become one of his ally and destroy the earth, well, control the earth. So when Raven started to reach, like she was 17, she started to feel Trigon's power within her, which was like anger, evilness, I guess because I feel like every teenager goes through that where their emotions go hectic. Yeah. So I think that was what was happening to her. So she left Azareth and went to Earth, and she went to Jump City. When she reached there, she ended up finding herself in a situation where several young superheroes were chasing after this alien girl, which is Starfire, and everyone was trying to attack her because they thought Starfire was the bad guy. But because Raven, they taught her to be, at peace, give everyone the benefit of the doubt. She just started to analyze everything, and she noticed that Starfire wasn't trying to hurt anyone. Starfire was trying to run away from somebody. So that was when she told everyone, calm down, let her explain, and things like that. So she did. Everyone gave Starfire the benefit of the doubt. And then Starfire ended up joining the Teen Titans, and the group of youths that was chasing after Starfire ended up being a group. So now Raven is on Earth, and Trigon's power is released within her. So she had this fear of hurting the people she loved. Like, she didn't want to love, actually. She didn't want to get attached to nobody because she didn't want to hurt anybody, and she didn't want anyone to hurt her. Because if when you get close to someone, that person bound to like hurt you, because she can't even be upset at like the smallest thing. Like, like let's say someone annoys her, like keeps telling her, Raven, what are you doing? She can't be annoyed because she'll just freak out. So now her journey with the Teen Titans was a bit rough because without her wanting to, she started to get attached to every member of the group, especially Robin, which is also known as this. Anyway, that's another topic. Anyway,
She gets attached to her.
yes. So Robin was close to her because he saw she was really struggling, because she really wanted to be a part of the team. She really wanted to be normal, but she couldn't, because every day she had to go to her room and meditate. And there was a member in the Teen Titans that loved to annoy her, but not loved. He was naturally annoying, which was Beast Boy. And there was this when I watched the cartoon, the TV show. There was an episode where Beast Boy was kept bothering her, like asking her why she was so distant, why didn't she participate in things, why didn't, and she got so annoyed that she almost hurt Beast Boy, like she almost lost it. And because of that, she went into her room and went to another dimension, and that's where Beast Boy met Raven's different emotions. But anyway, then at the end of the whole talk about Raven is that I feel like I could relate to her, because I feel like everyone every day has to have a very large amount of patience to go through a day, a large amount of patience to handle another person. Everyone has a scary side of them, and every day you gotta struggle with that, and I understand Raven, because it's a very tough thing to go through by yourself, because she had to control herself all by herself, because she really didn't want to hurt anyone. And but in the end, she realized by her doing all of this by herself, she ended up still hurting the people she cared about. She still ended up caring about her team members, and she allowed them to help her, but it still killed her that she was getting them in danger. And she had a lot of enemies. Like, she had Slade was working with her dad to get her to her destiny, like so she can serve as a living portal so Trigon can come to Earth. And then so yeah, that's my story about Raven.
Nice. I think there's a lot of recommendations when it comes to Raven. Not only that you can see them, like there was a great Teen Titans TV show once, and then there's also Young Justice on XTV. There's another animation show, and I believe it just got revived. Then there's also the live action Teen Titans, and in every depiction of it, it's a character that's conflicted. She wants to be good, but like you just said, like she was basically made for evil, to be the vessel of her father, I believe. And that was a good character to choose. So the reason why you sometimes feel conflicted, that's why the character sticks out to you, right?
Yeah, I think Raven represents a lot of people.
Yeah.
Because I think every day everyone was trying to be good instead, because some days maybe you wake up really depressed or angry.
Yeah.
But when you go out there, you can't show that emotion to everyone.
Yeah.
Because then, you're ruining the other person's day.
Yeah.
So with Raven one, it's more intense, but yeah, that's why I chose her, because I think she's very strong to trying to control her emotions and her destiny.
Yeah.
Well, I'll go next following Jay. So I picked Wonder Woman. AKA going by her Amazonian identity, Princess Diana of the Muskira, or by her civilian identity, Diana Prince. So just going some backstory of her creation, the character's creation. Wonder Woman is created by an American psychologist and writer, William Marston, and an artist, Harry Peter. Now, Marston's wife Elizabeth and their life partner Olive Byrne was his inspiration for Wonder Woman's appearance. So I'm just guessing these women were beautiful.
Okay. I probably got confused. Are you saying a man was the inspiration for...
No.
Okay.
His wife and his life
wife.
partner, which
Oh,
I don't
okay.
know if they're two different things. I'm a bit confused by it, but that's what it had, okay? Her first appearance was in All-Star Comics issue 8 on October 21st, 1941. Her character was created during the period of World War II. Wonder Woman's origin, so this is going more into her origin, story starts when she was sculpted from clay by her mother, Queen Hippolyta, and was given life as an Amazon along with superhuman powers as gifts by the Greek gods. Now later in True in Time, they kind of changed that story to Zeus being her dad rather than all the gods giving her life. In the comics, Diana was a member of a tribe of women called the Amazons who lived in Paradise Island, which then again got reformed to the Themyscira Island, right? And basically her story starts when Steve Trevor crashes on the island and is found by Diana and the Amazonians. Diana nurses him back to health and eventually falls in love with him. Then, yeah, and that's when they had a competition to see who would take him back to the man's world, right? I found that very interesting because in the movie, in the live action,
That's your only
yeah, if that's your only
reference.
they had the competition before Steve even got to the island. So that's how they play, mess around with the origin of her. And so they had this competition. Diana participated in a mask because her mother, the queen, forbid her to even participate in this competition because she was so scared of Diana going to the man's world because she believed that the world did not deserve Diana. And Diana went anyway in a mask, won the competition, and her mother had to go along with it, had to give her the opportunity to go to the man's world. So her mom gave her the warrior outfit that she has, and that's what she wears when she's Wonder Woman. And when she went to the man's world, and I found this little part of her origin story, a little funny, the way she got her alter ego Diana Prince. So when she got to America, she met a nurse who looked uncanny to her. So, but she noticed that the nurse, because the lady was a nurse, was in distress. So she asked her, what's the problem? And they were trying to migrate to South America, but they didn't have any money. So at this time, Diana was living without any papers, any proof of identification, but she needed that to stay in America. So Diana found money and gave it to the nurse in exchange for credentials, right? And that's when the nurse told her, my name is Diana Prince. And that was the start of her alter ego of Diana Prince, where she then became a nurse in the army.
Herself became a nurse.
Yes, in the army. And that's just basically how her story starts. We know how it continues on. She becomes a member of Justice League, But I also have some other little notes. Her epithet given to her was beautiful as Aphrodite, wise as Athena, stronger than Hercules, and swifter than Hermes. Hermes? I'm not sure. Yeah, okay. Diana's operating methods were made distinctive from Superman and Batman's with her willingness to use deadly force when she judges necessary.
That was the distinction.
It's not the whole woman thing?
No. She is depicted as a masterful athlete, acrobat, fighter, and strategist, trained and experienced in many ancient and modern forms of armed and unarmed combat, including exclusive Amazonian martial arts. With her godlike abilities of incalculable superhuman strength, invulnerability, I'm not sure if I'm saying that word right, invulnerability, speed, fight, fast healing, and semi-immortality. Some of her villains include Cheetah, Ares, Dr. Poison, Medusa, Hades, and Giganta.
Other than just the Justice League villains too.
Yeah, as well. But that's just her own personal villains. Some of her weaknesses are the lasso of truth, which can also be used against her.
Yeah.
She's not an exemption. Just because she holds the lasso of truth doesn't mean she's an exemption to it.
Yeah.
The bracelets on her wrist that she wears to ricochet the bullets are also to prevent Diana's full power from coming out.
I don't know that.
It's sort of like a
Gauntlet, you know, we for protection.
yeah. And it actually weakens her in combat. Yeah. So it doesn't allow her to use her full strength when she's fighting. Yeah. Her greatest weakness is her naiveness to the world, because she was raised on an all so when she went to America, she really had to, because in their island it was very peaceful, and when she went to the real world, or the man's world, it was manipulative, evil. There's a lot of war, and she was so naive to all of these types of things. And I think in the movie you kind of saw that, how she was so like baffled by the amount of
more part one than part two.
Yeah, more part one. Wonder Woman's Day is October 21st, because that was the first day she was in a comic. So that's her day. That's Wonder Woman's Day, October 21st. So that's just a little bit of, a little digging that I did. I picked her, well, first of all, because I am a woman. She just seemed very fit for this.
The ultimate woman.
She's the ultimate woman.
And she's sexy as hell.
So feminism. So I found her, besides how amazing of a character she is, just throughout history, she, for women, were a big, or for feminists, were a big idol, because it was the first time that we had a woman who wasn't portrayed as the damsel in distress. Yeah. She was the superhero. She was the person going to the battle.
Say that she's tier one. She's tier one for women superheroes, because there's like Miss Marvel that recently has, many people don't know a lot about comics, right? Even ourselves, we know a little bit about comics, but Miss Marvel came around now and she's so powerful. But yet, when I was watching everything, like a Justice League movie, like the live action movie Batman vs Superman, when she was there in the movie, we were like, no, we got a chance, right? And even in the movies, Justice League movie, if she's not in the Justice League movie, something's wrong. One of the main characters is missing at this point, if there's no Wonder Woman. And I have to say that she, to me, I believe, she's the ultimate tier one woman superhero.
Yeah, I when I was looking her up, and I think every woman looks at Wonder Woman and finds her as that's our superhero, because we have everybody, we have Superman, we have Batman, all these great superheroes. But when we talk superhero, like I said, everybody goes Superman, So for women,
debatable.
Well, but it's always a man. That's what I'm saying. So for Wonder Woman, I was looking into her. Of course, she has a lot of feminist. She did a lot for the feminine movement. But she also is a huge sex symbol as well. She is what most people will call the perfect woman. She's been labeled as the most sexiest comic book woman.
Debatable.
I'm just going by the stats. She is the sexiest woman in comic books. And I think she is honestly just an all-around great superhero, great idol for young women to look up to. She's very strong, she's independent. Yes, she falls in love and she has a vulnerable side, but she also has this powerful side to her that I find very empowering. So that's my take on my superhero. We're going to Mr. Rene, who is a bit off topic, I think. With his
It's still home. It's a comic book. Heroes can be interpreted in many other ways. Some people found many various terrorists as heroes. So Renee is here with an interesting one. Go ahead.
Hi, guys. Hi. Good evening, everyone. So, the character I decided to go with today is actually a villain. There's no other way to say it. You can't say an anti-hero. He's none of that. He is a straight-up villain. Now, the character I decided to go with is the Joker. All right? The Joker origin is actually surrounded in mystery. No one really knows the origin of the Joker. All right? We know when he first appeared. He first appeared in Batman #1, which was in 1940.
Damn.
That was when the Joker first appeared. But the Joker origin that is accepted by the masses, that many people
And
go
he
with.
started off with some really, really small stuff like a jewelry heist.
Yeah.
No, we've gone beyond that.
Yeah. He started out a small time thug, basically. But what it was that he first appeared in 1940 in Batman #1. And then the wide accepted origin story of the Joker was accepted in 1988, if I'm not mistaken, when The Killing Joke came out.
Okay.
It's accepted by the masses to be his origin story. It was created, but it was created, but it's never been embedded and said, yes, this is the Joker's true origin story. It was just accepted by the masses that, you know what, we'll take this as his origin story and run with it. Now, the Joker for people means a lot of different things. There's a lot of different villains throughout comics. You guys touched on some of them when you guys went over your superheroes. But there is no villain that is widely known, accepted, and some will even say borderline loved by people like the Joker. Yeah. Now, the thing is with the Joker, he goes by many different names. Yeah, Jack Napier was one of his names. Jack Napier. That's the more comic book character is Jack Napier. And then you have Arthur Fleck. More recently Arthur Fleck. But
do you remember which one Jack Nicholson was?
Was it Joe Chill?
Yeah, he was Joe Chill.
Yeah.
But Joe Chill is actually a different character in general, where
Yeah, yeah.
it gets
Another universe.
it gets complicated because Joe Chill is
That's
a
what gives him the
yeah
creative rights.
Joe Chill is people who like study comics a bit will know who Joe Chill really is, right? I don't want to touch on that because I do believe one of our one of our other speakers might touch on that as well. So I don't really
Yeah.
want to go in depth with that.
Because
But
that story right there, I don't think cutting about it short, was like there's this Batman, Mask of the Phantasm. I don't know if everyone's seen it. Yeah. No, in that movie, there's this basically this gangster guy that works for the certain person that doesn't want Bruce Wayne to marry his daughter, and that person ultimately became the Joker out of the story. So now, a mad man, I think, comes from different stories.
yeah.
Creates a mad person.
Now-
So.
the thing is, like, for example, the Joker was actually an unnamed character originally. He worked with the chemical company and everything of the sort. He was a struggling comedian. He tried to make ends meet. He lived in a house with his pregnant wife. The landlord didn't like him. She kept trying to get him evicted because he couldn't meet his paychecks, things of that sort. Where that struggling person turned into the Joker was actually when he donned a different identity, and there was a string of robberies committed by the Red Hood gang, and it was where they went by one person putting on this red mask, red hood type thing, helmet thing, yeah, and they went to rob the same chemical plant that the character came from, and Batman actually foiled the entire robbery, and he fell into a vat of chemical waste and stuff, and then was washed up outside, and that's why he was never arrested. But that was actually the birth of Joker as we know who he is now, right? He went from that petty criminal to what he became. Now, I took some little notes, right? I lied a little bit and said I didn't take notes, but I actually took a little notes. So I wrote up some talking points. Now, like, the Joker is a complicated character. The reason being is his crimes are not fueled by desire, love or anything. It's not desire. It's not money. It's not ambition. It's none of the ordinary motives of what you would think a criminal would actually go about. Now, the terror that the Joker spreads is more ideological. It's more philosophical. It's more with the psyche, right? He wants to break you. He doesn't want anything to come. He just wants to break you, to show you, yo, this is who you really are. Stop conforming to what society wants you to
So,
be.
like Alfred said, some people just want to watch the world burn.
Or
Yes.
to quote him, we're just one
Yeah,
bad
I
day
was gonna
away.
get in. I was just gonna get into that. Yeah. So now the thing was that, like I said, he joined a bunch of crooks operating as the Red Hood gang to make easy money. Now he was trying to do it for his unborn child and his wife, forced to commit these crimes. Batman stopped them. Now, with everything, his not making it at his job, trying to get kicked out of his house, can't commit a robbery correctly. Now, it was these set of traumatic events that got him to the point where he ended up, and that was where the terminology birthed from. That was where the one bad day concept came from. It was like everything that can go wrong just went wrong in this one day. And that just broke him. Like, he was already a petty criminal, but it broke him. It's like, I have nothing else to go by. Because you have other stories that they killed his wife and everything of the sort, and and that's what broke him. Now, that's where it came up, and that's where it says, all it takes is just one bad day. That was one of the Joker's most famous quotes. That all it takes is one bad day to drive the sanest of person to lunacy. And, now I did a little bit more digging and stuff, and it's based upon a psychotherapist work. The psychotherapist's name was Carl Jung. He was a huge follower of Sigmund Freud, which is a world-renowned psychotherapist. And he was working on something called the shadow. That was what he referred to it as, the shadow. Now, what the shadow is, because I did a little digging, the shadow is that part of the person's psyche that refuses to acknowledge, that your psyche refused to acknowledge. So it's in everyone, but you just try not to acknowledge it. Now, it's the part that wishes you could beat up your boss and take everything they have. It's the part that wish you could just walk down the street shooting guns and doing whatever you want and don't have any regrets, don't have any cares in the world. That's what the concept of the shadow actually is. Now, according to Carl Jung, a person must recognize these negative impulses to maintain mental health. Because if you don't acknowledge that there's evil inside of you, I think that the world is just rainbows and beautiful skies and beautiful everything all the time. You're in for a rude awakening. And it could drive someone over the edge to insanity just as much as just looking at the world from a negative point of view. So the shadow says that you should acknowledge the negativity in you to create mental balance, to know that there's good and bad in the world. Now, the thing is that the more I looked into him and the more I thought about it, now it's to the point where Carl Jung said that it's where it leads to illusionary superiority, where that's where we think 90% of we focus 90% of our mentality to the good that we do, to ignore that there's evil in us. We want to point out that we're a good person, that we're full of love, that in comparison to other people, all right? And that's where illusionary superiority comes from, right? The point that we want to think that we are truly so good that we wouldn't hurt someone or cause any type of damage. Now, at the end of the day, it's like what they said, that the Joker is just simply an outlet for the shadow. Like, he stopped saying, what if? Like, what if I would beat up my boss and take what he has? The Joker stopped saying what if, and the Joker just does. It's not, he took the shadow and then pushed it to its limit. It was like, all right, I'm no longer gonna live by what society deems is the normal. Yes, I'm not gonna abide by your concepts. You know what? I'm gonna do me despite what you think. At the end of the day, I'm just reverting back to who we really were before a group of individuals came together and said, these are the laws that we have to abide by to maintain society. Joker looks at himself as one of two things. He looks at himself as what we were meant to be or what we're going to be. He's either reverting back to what we truly are or looking ahead to what we will become. He says that this is only temporary and we are just trying to hold on to the little bit of what we want to call normal living before we actually end up to what we really are.
The
So
illusion of order.
yeah. Now the
So
thing.
basically, I think what Joker's main goal is for us to accept that shadow that we all have, and stop being hypocrites and being like, oh, we are so good and so all good and we only do good. And he's like, no, you have that bad side, and I'm gonna try to bring it out of you. I think that's what his goal is, to make everybody
Well,
realize
you
that they
see,
have a bad side.
even with that belief, right? I mean, we have many people that study the brain, but at the same time, we're just men coming up with concepts of something that's not working. Basically, like you get a computer technician to look at your computer, he's going to find what the problem is because it's man-made. But men aren't made like, we have a higher being per se. So it's harder to interpret what really drives. Because if you think about it, what drives a serial killer? So it's the same thing when it comes to the concept of, he's basically a serial killer. Joker is basically a serial killer. He has killed many people, even children, And the weirdest thing about it is the mystery that he has behind him, that we saw it in a movie, you can beat the crap out of him. He doesn't break character. He doesn't say, okay, I'm enough, sorry, and I'll behave. No, he is to me, the epitome of madness. Not evil, but madness. Because I believe even madness would scare evil. You understand?
He he told Batman in the movie, there's nothing that you can hurt me with, even with all your strength. There's nothing you can hurt me with, because he truly doesn't care about nothing. He just,
For the
his
people
main
who are
goal,
gonna bring up Harley Quinn, no, he does not love her.
Nah, he does not
He does not
love
love her.
Harley Quinn.
That's another topic.
Nah.
I want to touch on something.
Yeah,
that
I'm gonna let you go
Vic
right
said
now because I know that Ray has to go.
concerning
But it's
the
like
Joker not
Joker.
being evil.
Joker's thing is this. Joker. A lot of people think Joker wants to kill Batman. Joker does not want to kill Batman.
He wants to break him.
Joker wants to break Batman. Joker wants to show Batman that we are the same and you are just fighting it to not become who I am, but we are the same person. And that's Joker's biggest. If Joker wanted, there is many times Joker could have came close to killing Batman. But what? The Joker would injure him and things of that sort, but never come to the point of actually trying to do harm to the point that he ends Bruce Wayne's life. He wants to torture everything Bruce Wayne holds sacred. Gotham. He killed Robin. He killed Robin to try to bring Batman to go over the edge. Joker literally wants Batman to kill him because he knows that is Batman's only rule, not to take another human's life. And Joker would do anything to have and that's what I think where Victor is going, that he's not evil. He's a madman. He's a psychopath. That he wants Batman to kill him because that would then prove that he accomplished his goal.
To touch on that issue a little more.
Yeah, that would then be great.
We're going to raise.
Yeah, we're going.
I want to just touch on the Joker a little bit, and I'll transition right into my character. But it's to deal with the point you brought up, that the Joker not being evil. I agree with that fully. My interpretation of the character is that he is not evil. He is tortured. You are looking at a character, if we go by his phrase, one bad day. Rene touched on it, on his hardships throughout his life leading up to the Joker. You are looking at a character that experienced bad day after bad day after bad day. his entire life. And one day, one extremely bad day, topped it off. And that is why he became the epitome of madness. Like you said, it was his escape button, it was his scapegoat. And the character is one of my favorite characters, not my favorite hero, of course, because he's a villain, but one of my favorite characters because he taught me a lesson. One bad day. And that expression, that lesson that I got from that expression is we shouldn't judge. We do not know what's happening in people's lives that drives them to do what they are doing. So like I said, I loved the character. I loved the character, and he taught me a lot as well. Because like I said, he is tortured and he is pissed off because he feels he is the only person seeing the world as it really is. He's the only person that the world is choosing to show its true face to. So that is why I'm such a big fan of the Joker as well. And
Now he actually
what's
segues right into your
yeah,
hero, which I think is the people's superhero.
The 007 of superheroes.
Badass superhero. And we're hyping you up, so you better give us like the best out of all of us here.
no pressure, I guess. So
Go to your superhero. Who are
the
you
transition to
presenting on?
my hero,
Not a god.
well, not a god,
Not
a
a
man.
god, not the
I am,
strongest.
It's the Dark Knight himself, Vengeance, the Batman, Bruce Wayne. So, just to get a brief, quick backstory on the character. So, Bruce Wayne, um, son of Thomas and Martha Wayne. They were great advocates in the city of Gotham, and um, well, I should have gave the intro because everybody did it. But Batman, as you know, he was created in May 1939. I didn't reconfirm it. It's just off the top of my head. I do believe it's not.
But
May.
everybody with the statistics, I didn't give on
Yeah.
Superman. No statistics at all.
So yeah, well, believe it was 1939. Bill Finger, Bob Kane, if I believe,
He
are the
recently got
creators.
he recently got some big up for that.
Bill Finger?
Yeah, Bill Finger.
Yeah, he's actually
He
the
was-
creator. Bob Kane
He
was the artist.
Bob
30th.
Bob Bob Kane.
39.
Bob Kane, if you go into the animated series that we both grew
Yeah,
up on,
well,
he was
that-
always just created by Bob Kane, and Bill was always there. And he just lately, I believe it was like 1 or 2 years after the Dark Knight Rises, that they started to put his name behind. So now, when they say Batman character created by Bill and Bob, and I gotta say that's part of your story,
Yeah.
basically.
Sorry, just to cut in, Superman was created on June 1938.
38. So, Batman, he actually didn't make his origin in a comic, in his own comic book. It was a comic strip, in True, well, not True Detective Comics. Yeah. So, okay. So, just a quick background into it. Like I said, Bruce was the son of these very famous advocates in Gotham City, and Gotham City being the city that it is at the time, it was full of corruption, crime, racketeering, whatever crime you can think of. Um, it was happening in Gotham, and his parents were big advocates in trying to, clean up
Clean up the city. His
Yeah.
father was a doctor.
Yeah, and pursuing a political career at some point. So, one sad night, Bruce and their parents, they went out to see a movie. I believe the movie was Zorro, Mask of Zorro. Yeah, it was the Mask of Zorro, and they were leaving the theater all happy, and they went into Crime Alley, and at some point, I mean, you guys referenced them earlier. Um, his parents were held at gunpoint by a desperate criminal at this point. Joe Chill. And, Thomas Wayne trying to de-escalate the whole situation and saying, but something happened and Joe pulled the trigger first at Thomas, and sooner his mother was also shot due to being screaming, and Joe got startled, pulled the trigger on her as well, and this whole thing, that is what set it off for Bruce.
I was talking to my girlfriend yesterday about this because we prepare, right? And I told her, what I just like, Ray, forgive me, what I just realized. I represented Superman, you represented Batman. They both lost their parents. Yeah. And your character was raised by a single father, Alfred, and Kal-El was raised by two farm parents, Yeah. It's like you have a representation of a broken home in both senses, right? Kal-El didn't get to meet his parents like how Bruce did. So this is the reason why I believe that Superman doesn't have this dark twist to it. But at the same time, I think they're still mirror of each other. I think they're more mirrors of each other than actually Joker and Batman are. I think Batman, his reflection wouldn't be the Joker. Batman knows what darkness is. That's the reason why he is a Dark Knight. That's why he's this dark figure that preys on evil or twisted people at night. And Superman is the reflection of what, let's say, like if he could have, like everybody said, if you had this good thing could have happened to you, I could be here instead of be here. I'm not saying that Batman could have been like a superhero, like he would have super strength and stuff. But I do see that they know that they see the reflection, because other than that, they know each other's secret identity also. And yet they have that respect not to ever leak that information.
On the point you're trying to make, being the mirror, is because Bruce's situation, Bruce saw the darkness of mankind, and Clark being taken in by Martha and John, and seeing the warmth of humanity. He saw the good side of humanity. And that's partly what I wanted to touch on your character as well. The House of El, meaning hope. And that is what Superman is. Hope. Hope of what humanity can truly be. He is what humanity should inspire to be, because you said it. He's a god that can burn the world if he wants, but he is choosing to serve humanity and doing the right thing and inspire people.
Let me jump in real quick. Now, you see, a lot of people that don't follow comics, not like you said, we follow it a bit. We are not like huge into the comics.
I would say
but
we're connoisseurs, though.
Yeah, we're not connoisseurs. We're not like
so? I think
we follow it. We follow it, and we follow it truly and deeply.
Yeah.
But you have people that live for comics and stuff,
That's true.
but the thing is, like, people see the S on Superman's chest, like Ray brought up just a moment ago, and they don't understand that that's it from his home planet. That is the symbol for hope.
Yeah.
It's not an S for Superman. It's a symbol
Although
for hope.
it is good for marketing.
That is the symbol for hope. But I wanted to touch on something there that you guys were bouncing off each other, and just to show you that how the scales can tip from one end to the other, because look at the path that Superman and Batman went down. They chose to fight against the evil, even though they went through hardships just like the Joker.
Yeah.
The Joker went through hardships just like Bruce Wayne, just like Clark Kent. Joker chose to go with the scales in the other direction. And it just shows you the struggle of humanity, and us as humans. We can choose either path because we have all these characteristics that are
Like
being.
there,
We could
there's
stand up for something like Batman and Superman and do good for people and for ourselves, or we could tip the scale in a completely
you
different
you brought
direction.
up
And
you brought up on your discussion with the Joker that there was this doctor that talked about if you don't embrace the darkness inside you, and I must say that Superman, he he's never embraced the darkness inside him. He can't. His parents knew what it could lead to at some point, so he couldn't. And that character Joker, there's it started out as a video game, then they adapted it into now a comic book, but the Injustice comic. In the Injustice comic, read it, watch it, whatever. In that comic, the Joker truly to me that was like the basically that was his last plan that he had. And he blew up Lois Lane, and at that time Clark and Lois were with child, and he blew up her and killed her, and Superman came in, and Batman was trying to figure out like why the hell, why this now, and like the Joker go like this is like my I forgot he used a very like a very impactful line saying like this is like him like moving all his.
yeah, this was his ace card. This is his trump card.
That led on to being one of the like the craziest.
The line I like that he used, he told Batman every time he played against him, he lost, and he wanted to play a game on easy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
He wanted to play a game on easy because he's not as strong as Batman. He's not.
never embraced the evil.
Yeah.
Now
And he knew,
everything.
he knew
never-
killing Lois Lane with child
Yeah.
would have pushed Superman over the edge. What he's been trying to do to Batman since they've been fighting to push Batman over the edge, he knew that would have done it. And he knew that if Superman, the S on his chest, hope, if Superman lost hope in humanity, that would have been it for the entire world
Again,
because
but this
Superman
was-
could destroy the
Once
world.
again, this universe was another universe. Our Superman would somehow, how can I say it? It would lean on the Justice League more. Even in that little comic Injustice, Wonder Woman offered herself in more than enough comforting ways, if you get what I'm trying to say. And Superman was just already that he knew, because the comic book and the movie, the video game showed it in a different way. But if you watch the comic book, read the comic book, watch the movie, it showed it that he tried to solve all the problems in the world, stopping the wars and different stuff, things that we're even having problems with in real life right now. And if you didn't bend your knees to Superman, then and of course the only person could even think about making a plan against Superman would be Batman. You understand? So comics are awesome. It's great for storytelling. We're people of drama, so that's why we give in to the comics.
Touched on it a while. I like Superman and Batman's dynamic in the sense that Batman sees what the worst a person can do. Yeah. He sees the bad in the person, while Superman looks at someone and sees the good in him.
Yeah.
Sees
Batman
their
prepares for the worst, and
Yes.
Superman hopes for the best.
Yes, and I think when watching like the little animation movies, I love those, by the way. Those are amazing. I always like to see their dynamic, because like Ray said, Superman goes in wanting the best to happen, and then and Batman goes in expecting the worst to happen. And I think we kind of shifted a lot just now. Let's get back to Batman and Ray's input on him.
So, Batman, Bruce, a young Bruce Wayne, I believe, was 10, 11 years old, witnessing his parents got shot. And the thing about it was he was so shattered in seeing that and not knowing why it happened and not being able to do anything about it while it was happening. and it drove him crazy until he was old enough to actually go out into the world seeking to understand. So I believe he left Gotham, which it varies from
I think it was like
artist.
16. He
Yeah,
went very young and came back like
he
about
went for
20,
about
20.
12 years. He went 12 years
Yeah.
trying to understand crime and criminals, the mindset of criminals. And for a majority of the time, he was inoculated or he joined the League of Shadows. There are, I don't want to say terrorist groups, but they're
No, they're
idealists.
basically
There are idealist group that use extreme measures. Let's say
Okay.
that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's
So,
like calling Joker just an
you know,
extreme
the
person. That's
ideals
all.
of this their leader, Ra's al Ghul, again, origin would vary and his abilities will vary, but most commonly he's an immortal, that is trying to restore balance to the world.
He's a psychopath.
Yeah. Well,
He is. Let's be honest. Yeah.
so-path, but
He's
we
psycho.
can go with that as well. So yeah, that's where he spent majority of his time training as well. He learned all of their jacket traits, theatricality and deception. That's where he learned it, and he picked up
fighting and fighting.
and
Basically,
fighting. But Bruce also learned many styles from other places. Not all of his fighting
That's what
styles
people don't
came
get.
directly from the League of
They don't really
Shadows.
show all that, but he did a lot of studying. He
Yeah.
got his body to like the peak of like
That-
of humanity or something like that. Like he got it so
I
strong,
mean,
so
he is
muscly
the
that
world's
he had no
greatest
fat.
detective, and that doesn't come naturally. He did
Yeah.
spend a great time training his mind as well.
Yeah.
But like you said, the character is a testament of will, and that's what I like.
Yeah.
Because he knew what it would take, and he knew what he had to do to, like, we got to say, all of us here know it didn't work, but he is trying to make it up. The action of not being able to save his parents. So yeah, that's what I really liked about the character. He's a testament of the human will. I mean, the guy knows almost every style of fighting you can ask for. He's a billionaire, so he has all the cool gizmos, gadgets.
Movies don't show that, but the comics book more show that he's basically like he puts on a charade that the Batman is actually the person now and Bruce Wayne is the costume because
The
he has
Batman
the,
is who he
yeah.
really is, because he is driven by order or trying to force order.
And I think you
And
also
that's-
have to show it that he's the first person to have a sidekick.
Yeah.
He's the
I was
first
gonna get
person,
into that.
and I think that's great. We don't see it a lot in the movies. We saw it two lame times, sorry.
Yeah.
Two lame times.
I believe he's referencing Dick Grayson, the first Robin, and again, why Bruce took in Dick is so it's a testament to his character as well. Bruce took in Dick because, like him, he saw his parents died, and Bruce knew the effect not being able to do anything about his parents' murder, what that did to him. And that's why he inoculated Dick Grayson into crime fighting, to bring his parents' murderers to justice. Because at the end of the day, Bruce Wayne cannot not be Batman. He can't stop fighting due to the guilt he carries of not being able to save his parents, and taking in Robin and bringing his parents' murderers to justice. That's what he did. One day, Robin can stop fighting crime. He can settle down start a family, and live a normal life.
Ray, let me ask you a question. Do you think Bruce took in Dick because he knew? Nah, not that type of took in Dick.
Richard.
But he
His
took
name's not
in
even Richard. It's really Dick.
he
I
took
tried to
in
look
Dick
that up, but it
because
wasn't Richard.
he knew if he could have molded him, because if he didn't take him in, seeing his parents die, he knew that Dick could have took one or two route as well and become sidekick to like the Joker, for
That's
example.
a side joke.
Let's just
Right?
Side joke.
let's call him
Right.
Nightwing.
Yeah, he took it Grayson. He took in Grayson, knowing that, seeing her parents die, he knew the trauma what he went through. But he took in Grayson because if he didn't take in Grayson, he could have went down another path.
And
But
that's
you know,
also one of
later on in the comics,
and
he
that
actually
is
turned
the great
into
dynamic between Joker
Red
and
Hood as
Batman
well.
as well. Batman he could be doing what Joker is doing, and that speaks to why Joker is so infatuated with him, because he keeps telling Bruce, dude, we're the same person. You're trying to create something or force something that doesn't exist, which is order. You're telling me that you're sane. You're dressed like a bat, fighting criminals with your bare hands. Does that sound sane to you? It's a great story. It's in The Killing Joke. You guys should look it up. There, it's different sides of the same thing.
I also want to mention, and I think it got mentioned in the latest Batman movie too, that I heard and I was like, oh, I never thought of it that way. When Bruce said he's carrying out his parents' mission as well to clean up Gotham.
Yeah.
It's not just because he's vengeful or, it's because he wants to continue doing what his
It's creating the
parents were doing.
legacy. But Bruce's parents were trying to clean up Gotham as men, as humans, and that's what he realized in his time of training.
Yeah.
I can't do this as a man. As a man, I can be corrupted, They can bribe Bruce Wayne. They can threaten Bruce Wayne. They can kill Bruce Wayne. I need to be something more. I need to be a symbol, hence the Batman. And I love that expression as well, to be something more. That is another phrase I take very personally, and I try to incorporate in my life as well. Be something more. Be the change you want to see. Put some positivity out in the world. Help someone, even if it's through advice.
I think for Batman too that I really appreciated was when he got together with the Justice League. He was the weakest one there. Let's be real. Physically, he was the weakest one there. But I always like the concept of I'm the weakest one here, but I'm the smartest one here. Yeah. He there was a animation of it. Yeah, he had a plan to kill everybody.
Exactly.
He knows how to take out everybody.
He knew that all these people that were a part of the league
are potential threats.
Even himself.
It speaks to the
threat.
dynamic Victor was talking about.
Master technician that he is, he had a contingency plan in the event that any of these heroes decided to go rogue. And it's like Ray said earlier when he was speaking, he says Superman hopes for the best, Batman prepares for the worst.
Yeah. Well,
I think we could go on and on about Batman.
I want to challenge. Yeah, Batman. That's why we left Batman for last.
The thing, see the concept with why Superman could never have the impact that Batman has is because he's an overachiever. Basically. And if you don't know what the definition of an overachiever is, an overachiever is that you set the bar here, he goes higher than that. So you can't throw like a bad guy out there and you can say that he would kill Superman. You'd have to put countless and put different scenarios for it to happen. But with Batman basically put on a suit and kick Superman's ass in like couple movies and comics. And this is the reason why we call Batman the 007 of the superheroes. Like, he's just awesome. 007 for men, we consider 007 awesome. Like, he's the coolest man that we can look to and stuff like that. And you know something, I got inspired in it as the minute we came out with our topics and stuff. I want us to do now the next episode to this, where all of us will come up with
I want to
villains,
something
and I want Renee to
before.
come up with the only hero
I want
there
to say
at the
something
time.
real
You
quick.
understand?
The thing is,
So that's our next
I know
comic
our
book
podcast will
episode.
be out there, and I don't want people listening to the podcast to think that we're biased, because if you look at each one of us, we spoke about a DC character. We enjoy Marvel, but this is what I want to talk about. Like, and I know this is for probably we could do another topic. The handling of the universes by the studios that are handling them, because right now Marvel is head and shoulders beyond what the DC universe is. But the thing is, to me, DC has far better characters than Marvel does. But the way that Marvel does it, the way Marvel does their marketing, their publishing, and everything of the sort is head and shoulders above DC.
I've had this conversation with Victor before, where I told him Marvel has the best cinematic universe, and DC has the best comic and animation universe.
Yeah, but then you see DC always had claimed to, like, they had better series, and that was until Netflix threw out Daredevil and just whooped everyone's ass over there. Whipped everyone over their head with that Daredevil series.
If we go if we go toe to toe with best characters versus best characters and stuff, once again we have like the two top hitters here. You know, it's like we have the Michael Jordan and LeBron James here, and Marvel would have like the Kobe Bryants and the Shaquille O'Neals. Like, there's just no way that toe to toe that we would ever come anybody. I've seen several people talk about it, and there's no way that Marvel would ever win.
Marvel will always play second fiddle to DC, and the reason being DC was the first.
Yeah, but there are pioneers. When you're a pioneer, you always look like a genius or you look like a mad person. And Marvel had this ambitious plan to create the comic book universe, which already existed in DC. DC universe existed, Marvel existed, but we're going to put it on live action. And they did it first. Now, when you do something first, anybody that does it second will just look like a copycat. Or especially how they had like about 8 years ahead of them or more. DC, there's no way. DC, everything that they did, it just comes off rushed in a way, you know?
I think we're getting a little political here.
And then again, I think
offend
now
anybody.
the podcast is going a little bit
Marvel,
OT
we
right
love
now.
your movies. DC, we love your movies.
So
Okay.
there's several things.
The only reason I brought it up was that we touched all these.
You did
and I
that,
didn't
Renee,
want-
and I'll say this. Nobody here that he know that he brought it up. I saw it. But nobody here, we never said that it's going to be a complete DC. I told everyone to pick a character.
Honest, I was either between Wanda and Wonder Woman.
No, and
So-
to be honest, I was heavily debating Joker or Thanos, because Thanos is
He's
a character that I enjoy as well.
He has a.
So our next comic book episode, we're gonna go all villains, and Renee's gonna go a superhero. So that just seems fair, because he came out with he like, if we did a villain one, someone would have wanted to go to Joker. He came in with the episode at heroes, and he brought in the villain. Everybody's gonna fight for the Joker, and it's just right. Renee got it underhandingly, I should say. So now he's gonna get the rest of superheroes that he can pick. You know. So we're gonna go villains, and we're gonna see. I got a feeling that we're gonna have a mixture of universes on comic books now. You know. So.
Okay, well, I think this was a great episode of Superhero and Villain for the 501 podcast. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you in another episode. So that's a goodbye from V.
Victor Q.
Right.
Hey, have a great time, everyone. Have a great time until we see you again.
Hey everyone, thanks for listening. Please like and subscribe to the 501 Social Podcast. Follow us on our various platforms. Thanks.